All right, Jeff, here we go.
Hey, welcome to a special edition of Coach's Office. My name is Jeff Rasile.
Brian Higgins.
Brian, what are you drinking tonight?
Tonight I have Corona, and this was the only beer that you had in your refrigerator. That's why I'm drinking it tonight. Coronas are terrible. They are like the worst Mexican beer that you can get. Everybody drinks them because you stick a lime in them and you put your feet in the sand, which is probably a good place to be. I'd rather be on the beach with a Corona than in your basement.
We might be taping from the beach before long.
That's a good idea. We should go on location next time.
Or Vegas.
Okay, we'll talk about that. But I'm drinking Corona tonight, so tell me about Coach's Office. What are we doing here?
Well, Coach's Office is a segment that we have on our show, and basically what it boils down to, when you're around the kids and stuff, you may not say what you want to say or around fans or, parents.
But there's no holds barred now.
When you get into the office, boom, there it is. You're around your other coaches, and you let it all out. You just speak your mind. You tell the truth. So in this segment, we're going to take your questions, the viewers' questions, send them into either Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah, just message us with your questions.
Message.
And we already have some, so that's what we're going off of tonight.
3 or 4 questions tonight, I believe. 3 questions.
We have 3 questions tonight.
And, we'll read them, and then we'll answer them as honestly as we can, which may offend some people.
It's going to offend some people. And we talked about doing this segment before, and we said that we're probably going to have a question, and there's probably legitimately 10 to 20 people that think it might be them. All right, so you ready?
Yep.
All right, question number 1. This is from Brent, and he's from Hubbard. And he wants to know, what is the worst parent problem that you've ever had to deal with? That's
worst parent problem.
Worst parent problem.
You know what? Honestly, I was a coach for 20 years. You were a coach for a year. We really didn't deal with that much.
Right.
I think one of the things that we always did right is we had that parent meeting right at the beginning of the year where we met with all the parents 7th through 12th grade.
And you gave them a handout of all the rules.
Yep. They knew the rules for the players.
Yep.
And then we also gave them a sheet that said parent expectations. And they didn't always like that. But I read it to them. Gave him a chance to ask any questions, and we went through that. But the worst parent problem, I mean, probably the one family from McDonald, they had high expectations for their kids. Nothing wrong with having high expectations for your kids, but, they were unfair. They were unfair for the kids.
Right.
And I think they thought that they were college basketball players, and they weren't. They were, good role players at McDonald, and they ended up leaving. Because of it, they complained, and they wanted a bigger role for their kids, and they ended up leaving because of it.
And we've had several of those conversations with different groups of parents, but that group in particular, they took us to town on that.
They did. They were upset.
Yeah.
But the worst part about that situation was we were winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were ranked number 1 in the state of Ohio that year.
Yeah.
And they just didn't want to hear it.
But it was meeting after meeting, and it was conversation after conversation all year long.
Calling the principal's office, calling the superintendent's office, yeah. And we only met once, I believe. But
there was always that threat, though, and it was always like you had to walk on eggshells, which made it like not a fun year. So it wasn't,
right.
It actually diminished the year when we had a lot of success there.
Another thing about that, too, is it's not just that we knew about it. The kids on the team knew about it, too. And it kind of turned them away from even that player.
Right. So
that's a shame. But that was probably the worst. Mm-hmm. We've had a few other incidents, nothing crazy, but that was probably the worst. But ultimately, those kids and those parents end up separating themselves, and they did.
Yeah. Talking about parent meetings, I remember when we were young coaches at Champion, there was the JV coach at Champion, right? It was a JV coach that had a parent.
We were not on the varsity staff. I know what you're going to talk about.
And they had a meeting, I think it was with the principal and the parent.
We were coaching middle school.
Yeah, and the principal and the parent, and they sat down. I mean, everybody goes into these meetings prepared. They're going to say 15 things, and these are all the stats, and this is why your kid's not doing this. And the parents sit down, and they said, all we want to know is why is our kid not starting? Or how can I get him to start? Yeah, how do we get our kid to start? And the JV coach said, move the Kinsman.
No offense, Badger. That was Badger
no. That's on that Champion coach. He's the one that said that. So you go burn down Champion.
He absolutely did. The parent didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Meeting's over.
That was it. They didn't move.
I remember that.
That's the best.
They
story.
did not move.
That's the best story ever. Move the Kinsman. All right, ready? Question number 2. This is actually from one of our former players in Champion, and I had to do it because it's Greg. You know Greg.
Greg Verch.
Greg Verch sent in a question to us, and he said, you always talk to us about other things other than basketball, things other than basketball. And he said, what is your advice on marriage? That sounds like a Greg Verch question.
Well, first of all, let's start with Greg's a great kid. He's a hard-working kid. He's now a teacher out in California, a very successful teacher. But Greg's a great kid.
We probably gave him too much advice.
Yeah, probably.
Over the years on different
You probably
subjects.
don't want to listen to our advice.
Yeah. Go ahead. What's your advice on marriage?
Jeez, oh man, marriage. Well, my first advice, if I had to advise the kids and they came up to me, I'd say, don't learn how to turn the washing machine on. I mean, you learn how to turn it on, you're going to be expected to do the wash.
True.
If you never know how to do it, you can't be expected. Don't learn how to cook, so that you can't. You know, when it's my turn to cook in the house, you know what I do? Carry out. Amen Corner, little shout out to Amen Corner.
Yeah, I love Amen Corner.
I mean, we're there twice a week.
Speaking of that, I heard that they have your order memorized at Dairy Queen every night at 9:30.
I'm at the Dairy Queen every night at 9:30. Yes. And
I just heard that.
I call on the phone to Amen Corner. I don't even have to give my name. They're like, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Be here in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, in all seriousness, what do you think? Communication?
Communication's big. I always talk about, like everybody says, compromise.
Compromise.
I think sometimes you just gotta let things go. Sometimes it's not worth the fight. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's better just to go chill out in the basement, go play a video game, go have a beer, get away from it, take a breath. And, everybody wants to fight because everybody wants to win. Just walk away, let them win. Let them win, because most of the time it's not worth it.
It really isn't. And the other thing I would say is just over time, you got to grow closer.
Yeah, your partners.
Yeah,
especially when you start having kids, you know it's almost like you're co-CEOs. You got to that's your business.
That's when you really need to communicate.
Yeah,
because like our kids, our kids' ages, they're running in different directions.
Yep. We're
running in different directions. You got to sit down at some point during the day and say, listen, this is what's going on. Yep. And I think Jack and I do a pretty good job of that. Mm-hmm. And it's, both of us have successful marriages, so can't complain about that.
That's right.
Hopefully that helped you, Greg.
So follow that advice, Greg, and I hope you have a lifetime of love with whoever you're with. So thanks, Greg, for that. All right, last one is Chris from Warren. All right, so we got Trumbull County. Chris coming in here with a question, and it's talking about the younger kids. What do you think about 5th and 6th grade tournaments, and do you think they're beneficial for kids' development?
This is something we've talked about for years.
We've gone back and forth, too.
Even summer basketball, we've talked about that. Is it beneficial? Isn't it beneficial? I've always felt 4th, 5th, 6th grade, whatever it is, pre-7th grade, that it's all about training more than games.
Right.
But I think that you also got to find a balance because kids want to play.
Kids want to have fun.
They don't want to train.
You
they
can't dribble for fun.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to dribble a ball. They want to go shoot a 3-pointer in a game. With that said, though, I think that you need to be doing more training or practicing than you do playing. Today, our problem is everybody wants to play 50 games. Mm-hmm.
And that's available to kids.
When
we were growing up, there was none of that.
Right, there was none. We played a little intramurals within our school.
Yeah.
Practice. There was no travel basketball in 5th.
You can play as many games as you want in 4th grade right now.
Almost every school has a tournament.
Right.
Well, let me jump in there. I had a discussion with a director of a local tournament who said that they provide these tournaments because they want to provide opportunities for the kids. And I laughed and said, don't bullshit me. It's money.
Yep.
It's a fundraiser, and that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. But if you want to provide an opportunity for the kid, don't charge.
Right.
Don't charge the parents to come in.
Yep.
Don't charge the teams to enter.
Yep.
What's it? A couple officials. And let me say something about the officials. The tournaments that we've seen, the officials don't even take it very seriously.
Yeah.
1 minute they'll call a walk. The next minute they won't. They'll say, well, because the kid's not very good. Well, you either call it or you don't call it.
Yeah.
I just think that you need to train. 4th, 5th, 6th grade success is not any indicator of future success. I've seen some great teams in the elementary. We'll call it elementary.
Our last year, we lost to some of those teams in 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
Well, our seniors that just graduated, Zach, Parker, Ziad, they lost to Sebring in a 6th grade tournament. In high school, Zach's 10-0 against Sebring in varsity basketball. So it's not an indicator. But that group, Zach, Parker, and Ziad, they only played in 2 tournaments in 6th grade. You remember that? 8 games.
Is that all they had?
8 games total.
I didn't know it was that
Yeah,
small.
we practiced more. We did training.
We did a ton of training with those kids.
And obviously, Zach trained every day. But, we see the same movie. Every year you get a new group of parents, and they all jump in. They all, I'm gonna do this for my kid, and we're gonna win trophies. Yeah. And then by the time they get to high school, they're mediocre. And a lot of those parents coaching their kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, their kids aren't even playing in high school. They quit. So
we almost let it go at McDonald at the end.
We did.
We were like, we're gonna do our thing here.
Yes.
You go and do whatever you want.
We ran a 6-week program. We ended by Christmas. said, you do whatever you want. We're not going to sponsor you. Mm-hmm. You know, if you go to a tournament, you got to pay, because we weren't going to pay for 50 tournaments. And we had some teams, I mean, some parents played in 50 games. Mm-hmm. And then you get to 7th grade and you play 15 games. Right. So they're playing more games in 6th grade than they are in 7th. So that seems crazy. But by no means does it indicate future success.
And so train your kids. And
most of the time, 80% of those kids quit anyways, whether it be for another sport or they just don't like basketball. Remember, you know, in earlier grades, size wins.
For sure.
Size wins.
Oh, yeah, you see that kid, he's 6 foot tall.
You can't stop him.
Can't stop
him. They play volleyball with the ball. And using that Sebring game, that championship game, they had 3 kids that were 6 foot tall. Our kids are like 5'2".
Yeah.
And we're trying to jump up for the rebound. But by the time you get to high school, you know, size is still important, but skill is way more important.
Yep. All right, that's it. Anything else to add on Coach's office?
Oh, do you know what? Before we go, I want to give a shout out. Sophia Constantino. She's a girls basketball player for McDonald's. She's been a starter literally her whole high school career. She'll be a senior next year. She was named a National Merit Scholar based on her SAT score. Top 1% in the country on her SAT, and also top 1% in the country on her ACT, plus a 4.0 student. That's
insane. That's awesome.
I had a chance to interview Sophia the other day, and I said, Sophia, what was the key to your success? And she said, well, I owe all of my intelligence to my Uncle Jeff.
Who is that?
She just said Uncle Jeff.
You're not sure? Does she have another Uncle Jeff? She has trained here, though, right? Sophia's trained.
Basketball-wise?
Yes.
She has basketball.
Not intelligence. I don't think you have books with Sophia. Like, hey, you got to do your chemistry before we go outside.
Sophia has a bright future.
She does.
Bright future. Good girl.
Congratulations to Sophia.
And her Uncle Jeff.
And Uncle Jeff. And Uncle Jeff will be on this Friday. Full Court Press debuts. YSN this Friday, June 19th.
June 19th. And we had 2 guests.
We did.
Randy Riccatelli, the AD at McDonald. He was our 3rd choice from McDonald. The first 2 said no, so we had to go to Randy.
If Randy was out, we were going to have to get someone from the boys basketball program to argue
to
girls.
Talk about girls basketball.
Because we were out of options.
And then we had Steve Miller from Berlin Center. Yeah. He's the girls basketball coach out of Berlin Center. And the reason why we had a McDonald Berlin Center twist to that was because they're the 2 elite programs, girls basketball programs in the area. You know, the last 2 district championships they've played in, Western Reserve won 2 years ago. McDonald won last year. 3rd round coming up.
And you have to see what they have to say about what's going to happen next year.
Oh, they had very strong opinions on who's going to win.
Yeah.
And you don't want to miss Steve Miller in the shot clock segment.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was pretty funny.
All right, tune in June 19th. Follow us on Twitter.
At FCP YSN.
Or on Facebook.
Facebook, Jeff Rasile.
All right, we'll see you guys Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.